Hey everyone, this is SJWs Attack for February 28th, 2017. Feeling rejuvenated this Tuesday after not putting out anything yesterday. Today I wanted to do a contrast of two articles from the last 2 days from different British online sites. One from the Mail Online, entitled "Support for Marine Le Pen Hits Record High in New Poll as Former French Prime Ministers Admit She Could Be Elected Because of Rising Anti-Establishment Resentment," and an article from yesterday on BBC News, "Have We Fallen Out of Love with Experts?" The Mail Online's headline notes that support for Marine Le Pen has hit a record high in new polls as former French prime ministers admit she could be elected because of rising anti-establishment resentment. Now, the key points of the article are noted as the percentage chances of her victory against other candidates, as well as that other ministers and other commentators have noted that she has a chance of winning now, and that she has refused to speak about a supposed corruption scandal with police investigating her offices. With regards to this, I'm only going to be talking about the actual anti-establishment resentment and why Le Pen could win, and I want to contrast this with the BBC article from yesterday to try and point out what the media seems to be missing, or if they're not missing it, at least they're giving too much credence to the elites and the establishment. The article starts off, "Far-right candidate Marine Le Pen has hit a record high in a new poll as former leaders have admitted she could become the country's president. A Cantor poll currently has the National Front party leader, Le Pen, at 45% in a second-round contest against conservative candidate François Fillon. Her popularity drops to 42% against centrist candidate Emmanuel Macron, who is currently the favorite to win. He is the business elitist, kind of a Clinton candidate in France, but probably a lot more socialist than somebody like Clinton is." The article goes on, "The figures come as two former prime ministers have said the anti-EU politician could pick up momentum and steal victory in May. They say a Le Pen victory could come as a result of the worldwide wave anti-establishment resentment that saw Donald Trump elected U.S. president in November. Former conservative Prime Minister Jean-Pierre Raffarin said Madame Le Pen could be elected. Another former premier, the socialist Manuel Valls, also warned of the danger of assuming Le Pen cannot win. At the headquarters of her National Front party in Nanterre, outside Paris, officials believe the same forces that led to the Brexit vote in Britain and Donald Trump's victory in the United States could carry Le Pen to power." Now, I'm not going to go into any more detail about the specifics of the article's assertions on the French possibilities. I don't know enough about the French electoral system to make a educated guess on if I believe Le Pen will win or not. I would suspect, though, that if we're basing this on what's happening in the rest of the Western world, that she has a very good chance. Mainland Europe and the EU in particular is a little bit different, though. What I wanted to look at is this notion of a worldwide wave of resentment against the establishment. I think the BBC was closer with their article from yesterday, "Have We Fallen Out of Love with Experts?" And I found their video very interesting. It had a few key points I thought were very educational.
I think the people in this country have had enough of experts with organisations from acronyms saying that they know what is best and getting it consistently wrong.
For anyone who's unaware, that was Michael Gove. Gove is a British politician, formerly the Secretary of State for Justice, as well as the Secretary of State for Education in the United Kingdom. He was very pro-Brexit and campaigned heavily on the Leave side. Many outside the UK won't know Gove, but he did take quite a lot of heat during Brexit for those remarks about the public's lack of faith in experts. However, he did go on to clarify, and even in this interview, clarifies what he means and what his actual position is.
I was particularly thinking about organisations like the IMF, who I thought had called the euro wrong and were calling the referendum wrong. And I felt, at the very least, we should challenge their arguments rather than simply saying, oh well, because you're a tenured academic or because you work for the IMF, you must be right.
Why didn't you say something more like what you just said to me?
It was a high profile, high intensity, high tension, high nervousness encounter. There's a difference between the considered use of language in a conversation like this and having to think fast on your feet.
Do you regret it? Do you regret having used the word experts in that context?
No, I think it's life's too short for regrets. I think one of the things that is occasionally irritating is that people assume that what I was saying was a blanket rejection of facts, evidence, rigor.
What Gove is talking about is this new perception that many people have that quite often these so-called experts are giving us information in such a manner that's very extreme and in such a way that it's unquestionable. And part of the issue right now is that the media is not questioning it. Neither are politicians. They're simply going along with it and then pushing back on the experts after, who really aren't accountable.
We are right to question experts, particularly after what happened in the referendum, when experts said that consumer confidence would fall, the stock market would fall, growth would cease, house prices would go up immediately as a result of the vote, not as a result of Brexit. And they were wrong. One has to remember that the Enlightenment did consist of challenging the experts, particularly challenging priests, and saying you don't have all the answers, people can work out the answers for themselves.
It's hard to argue that a more questioning public is a bad thing. But here's the problem. Where do we stop?
All these people have had experts. Oh, we need an expert. The experts are terrible.
Can any layman decide if the evidence on climate change stacks up, or whether vaccines are safe, or whether it's safe to eat GM crops?
Not only is it hard to argue that a questioning public is a good thing, it's stupid to argue if a questioning public is a good thing. A questioning public is always a good thing. Always. Not just a public, though, anyone outside of your own bubble. So being questioned from anywhere is helpful. And that's part of the problem that I'm seeing right now, is you have the media, academics, certain institutions are completely shut out of what's happening elsewhere. They have no idea. They've put themselves in these bubbles where they're simply not listening. And I'm going to end this by simply contrasting regular people they went and interviewed and then contrast that with an economic historian, academic from Cambridge University, and her response to Brexit. Just watch. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't see the issue, I can't explain it.
Why are you sceptical about people who've spent often years studying their subject?
Well, they're just ordinary people, but unfortunately they get stuck in this little bubble of what they're doing.
So you'll make all your judgment based on what you hear,
Yes.
not on what their
Yes.
qualifications are.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It depends on what they actually say.
Yes, so I made the decision to spend the day at the university naked as both an expression of my feelings about the referendum, which is that it's a rather dramatic event and will have dramatic long-term consequences, but at the human level, more importantly, as a show of solidarity